Hey, you guys, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because we are going back to a conversation from a year ago that had Mel B talking about a Spice Girl something happening. She's now talking about a dance party that also included Tom Cruise. Talk about that.
I'd like to be at that party.
Yeah.
You're also going to find out why you absolutely must go to see the Tina Turner musical when it comes to your town. Enjoy the show, everyone.
Well, look at that. Us. And listen to that. Us. Thank you, everybody, for finding us and for being with us for another round of a visit to our favorite decade.
It's true.
We got a lot to tackle again today. I didn't even know about this. Not that I know everything, but I didn't know that there was such a rift between two of the stars of one of the greatest shows and spin-off shows in modern history. So we'll talk about the reason that Kelsey Grammer and Ted Danson hadn't spoken in 30 years. That's bonkers.
Yep.
We'll also tell you who's fake crying about not having his sexiness recognized, even if it is fake crying.
Yep. Fake crying.
And he is sexy, but whatever. It's almost been a year since Mel B said all the Spice Girls would be working on something, and it was going to be flippin'. It's about flippin' time. Of course, she didn't say flippin'; she said something else.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, she shared another experience with a big old movie star. So I figure we should start there, knowing that we've got Kelly's trivia to blow our minds intentionally, and a 90s rewind that'll take us back to the beginning of our decade. And our third co-host is trying to get some attention. Thank you, Shadow.
Likes looking at himself in the reflection there of the camera.
He doesn't like the words "all done,"
Yeah,
but
no.
we are. But we are all done.
Daddy.
All right, here we go. Mel B on a reality show. And I love when people are on reality shows because they eventually do forget that they are being filmed.
Yep.
Though I don't think that she would care either way.
Nope.
Based on what she was talking about Tom Cruise.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
I still don't really like I read the story. I sent the story to you.
Yep.
But when you read the story, so the story is that they were at Victoria's 50th birthday last year.
Yep.
She'll soon to be 51 in April, I believe it is her birthday. So the fact that this story is coming out now is even funnier.
Yeah.
But like, did you understand it? Because from what I gather, it was like they were at the party. There was lots of celebrities there. Victoria's son, Cruz, who is a burgeoning musician, or is a musician, I should say, started playing the guitar, and then Tom Cruise started a circle, and there was dancing.
Yeah, so they were singing the song, and the Spice Girls assembled. It was like, Wonder Twin Powers activate kind of thing. He starts playing a Spice Girl song, and they all start singing it, which is like, who doesn't want that to happen at a party?
Yeah.
And then at the end, I guess, of it, Tom Cruise, from how Mel B explains this story on this reality show that she's on, is saying he's trying to gather this circle together of like, let's dance, come on. And he starts doing the dance that he did in Tropic Thunder. And Mel B is like, it's not good. And, basically the Spice Girls dispense and off they go. But apparently on this reality show, I don't remember the name of the reality show that she's done, but she was with a choreographer who taught Tom Cruise that dance. And she's like, well, it didn't take because it was not good. So I love that. It's true, like you say, this show and all this incident happened a year ago at the big 5-0 party for Victoria. And it was around that time also, first of all, that she kept a lid on it for a year at least.
Mm-hmm.
But also it triggered, the truth was that a year ago we were talking about how, hey, something's coming down the pipeline with, a Spice Girls reunion because they're all going to be in on it because Victoria herself was the one that said, let's just do it. Right. So they're like, ooh, strike while the iron's hot. She's in. 1 year later, ticka, ticka, ticka. We need some answers.
They're kind of like the NSYNC version of us, not, like maybe it's happening, maybe it's not. And then it's keeps taking time and road track to figure this out. But because this is like, I mean, I think every couple of years Mel B says, I shouldn't be saying this, and then says like
Yeah.
things coming or whatever. I mean, I know that was it already 2017 or 2019 when they did those gigs before pandemic? It might have been 2019, when they did the UK gigs.
Yeah. And the last time that the five of them had been together was the closing of the Olympic
Yeah,
in
2012.
London, which
Yeah,
was amazing. I thought that was a great representation um, the music out of the UK and all very fun and etc.
which is
Um,
crazy to think too that George Michael, like that was one of his last appearances.
yeah. Wah, wah.
Oh, sorry, Sharon.
Oh, it's okay. We still have the music. That's the best part about the musicians that we love, whether they are here or heavenly here. We've got the music, which is great. Here's what I think that the Spice Girls should do, though no one has asked me,
Yeah.
because it seems to be a big undertaking to
Hmm.
take this show or any show on the road.
Yeah.
So let us make a theatrical experience
Hmm.
that people can buy tickets to and go and see at the theater for the theatrical experience. So
Right.
you get a theater with surround sound, as if that doesn't, that's everywhere, but a great big screen experience
Mm.
where you feel like you're there and they don't have to travel. So
Yeah.
they do one show or five shows in one city, and maybe there are people there, but
Mhm.
the rest of the world is there too because we've all bought tickets to be there with them in our own town.
I keep wondering what the holdup is because obviously, like, let's take Victoria out of the equation because she will or she will not be part of this, depending on what she's got going on with the fashion label. But the other four, I'm not sure because it always feels like, Mel C and Mel B will make this happen. And I would even think Emma too. And I'm not trying to blame Jerry. I just don't know if it's again like they've got kids, they've got all this stuff going on, but it just seems
Mm-hmm.
like get this going,
Well, that's the
like
other thing that supports my idea, because do it where you are
yeah.
or close to where you are. Find a common area
Mm.
that you can all go for those 5 nights, let's say. You can do your jobs during the day or take a vacation from those jobs
Yeah.
for those 5 days.
You're a
And
spice.
then, but I think it's possible. And I don't know what they're waiting for either. But
I
again,
don't
I
because
don't know everything.
I think like I think Emma is still hosting or co-hosting that morning show, I believe, in Britain. I think
On the radio,
on the radio.
well, I know from experience, as do you, that you can take vacation time
Yeah.
from your radio job.
And if nothing else, in her case specifically, the amount of excitement if she was promoting that on her radio station, like, hey, me and the girls are
Yeah,
gonna get the
totally that.
band back.
No kidding.
Like her station's ratings, her time slot ratings would just go through the roof. You know what I mean? So,
Agreed. Yep.
and then Mel C is a very in-demand DJ. I know that. And anytime I see her perform and there's like reviews or like even just social media reviews, everybody has such positive things to say about Mel B's sets.
Nice.
But again, she could also take a short hiatus
A
and maybe
hiatus from the clubs.
yeah.
I did it. I took a hiatus from the clubs. I've just never gone back. Maybe that's what she's worried about.
Yeah,
She'll never get back.
I'm not sure I can go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mel B, like I know she had school, but I believe she's finished school, and I'm sure, and she's the one that's always spearheading the charge anyways. So,
Yeah. This is
and Jerry, like
possible.
I think Jerry writes children's books at this point, which is again something you can take a sojourn from and just
We can find so many other synonyms for take a break
yeah,
because we're gifted that way. We have a thesaurus app like
yeah,
you, but also, if it's the writing schedule that's a problem, you can write
yep,
in your office, in your
yeah,
changing room, in
yeah.
your dressing room.
There's that.
I
Yeah,
mean, we have options. If they need solutions, sorry, if they've got problems, we've got solutions.
yeah,
Okay, so whoever is in the position to get this episode of 90s Now to them, we're ready.
we're ready.
We're ready. Just like we are, or not, ready for Kelly's trivia. Time will tell.
Bing boom. Yeah. I would mention just a quick backtrack that when you said this is what they should do, I thought you were going to say hire us as their managers.
Do it.
Yeah.
We could take a sojourn from our lives.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want us telling them what to do? Uh, sounds like a good idea. Sharon, art and literature first or sport?
Sport, please.
Which heavyweight boxer retired in 1997 at the age of 48?
I need some initials.
GF.
I don't know.
He has a grill.
Who doesn't? Um, he has a grill. GF.
Kettle's grills.
What?
George Foreman.
Oh, George Foreman. Oh, those grills. I'm thinking these
Oh
grills.
no, that's just Madonna.
I'm totally thinking of like you know, Post Malone, Teddy Swims,
Yeah,
modern day grills. No, you're thinking the George Foreman grill. Got it. Oh, okay, cool. Good for him. He
yeah.
was he was grill focused. That's why he retired, I'm
Go
sure.
focus. Yeah. 48. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, he can only take so many blows to the head.
Yeah. But smart man with the grills, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, art and literature. The
Please.
first novel of the series Number One Ladies Detective Agency was published in 1998. Who wrote it?
Do you know the answer to this question?
I do not at all.
I'll
Hello.
say
Um,
Polly Sampson.
Esther Polly Sampson, is that what you said?
No, I said I'll say Polly Sampson.
Oh, I think you said Esther Polly Sampson. That's a great name, Esther Polly Sampson.
Yes, it's almost too much name.
Too much. But you aren't wrong with three names though. Alexander McCall Smith,
Oh, very nice. I picked
aka Esther Polly Sampson.
I picked Polly Sampson because she, I believe, is the wife of David Gilmour. And in my mind, I'm thinking Spice Girls and all things British because I'm battling something right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And my amigo during this time are these
Fisherman's friend.
Fisherman's Friend, which are manufactured in Lancashire, England.
Lancashire.
And just to give you an idea of what they might look like,
Oh yeah. Are
yeah,
they
you know
so
what they
I
taste like? They taste brown also.
okay, because I wanted to ask, so I've never tried one.
Oh, they're quite something.
Are they quite something like you're going to gag because it's too much medicine, or is it like a pleasant mint?
It's not pleasant.
Okay.
No, but what is pleasant is the ability to breathe when that is temporarily taken away from your nose.
Okay, got it.
So it sends the vapors up your head, and that's very good. But it is strong. It's cold here today, and I
Yeah.
just was out for a little walk with my little Shad, and I had one, and it was like I was breathing frosticles. So I wouldn't recommend it outside in the cold,
Yeah,
but it does help side with the cold in your head,
I love it.
even
You
though
should
I'm not sick.
hydro sense.
You drink what? Hydrosense too. I do that too. I've already done it like twice today. So
Keep going.
you know what? There's a reason why Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer didn't speak for a few years. Oh wait, 30 years, not just a few.
Crazy.
But it ultimately comes down to the coulda shouldas, as in coulda spoke sooner,
Yeah.
shoulda probably touched base sooner. But 30 years just happens, right? So it turns out that Ted Danson was honest with Kelsey Grammer on the set of Cheers about something that he didn't like what he was doing, which was not necessarily arriving completely prepared for work.
Oh, yeah.
But he voiced it and he was honest about it. And Kelsey Grammer's reaction to that, at least on from his memory, was that because he was in not a great place at all, he said because of his drinking, he internalized that, and then it just sort of snowballed
Hmm.
into 30 years of not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And then they were on the podcast where everybody knows your name with Woody Harrelson, and the apology happened kind of right away.
Yeah.
Ted Danson apologized for saying what he said,
Hmm.
which he wasn't wrong to say, I don't think.
Yep.
But the idea that Kelsey Grammer kind of came clean about when he wasn't necessarily clean and having some a hard time in his life, um, uh, just buried it. So what I thought was interesting about that was also that Ted Danson is pretty open about his sobriety also, but that was not mentioned in this in the article that we read about this. But what I think is interesting is that because his sobriety is 30 years old. So
Hmm.
maybe that's it. Maybe he wasn't as polite as he possibly could have been in his mention of, what you're doing is not something that I'm enjoying as a coworker. Maybe he said it a little more aggressively.
But did you notice too in the article they said that like there was never a specific blowout? It was just like it was like a conversation. Kelsey seemed to say that he took it in,
Yeah,
didn't like react and tell Ted to go, jump off a short bridge or whatever, short pier.
right.
But then it just kind of became this like we're not talking thing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And you know what it comes down to for me?
Mm.
That's guys.
Yeah.
Women wouldn't let that necessarily just go from A to fester.
Yeah.
I think they would stew about it and maybe talk about it a little bit. I'm not saying that we're not that we're above the fester phase,
Yeah.
but um, I think it's typically guys to sort of just hack it down and move on.
Yeah. But you know what I find interesting, and maybe this is also like I think 30 years ago or whatever, 35 years ago at this point, or whatever, 1993, right? So 32 years ago, that communication wasn't number one. You know,
No,
like because
not
I
about
think,
anything.
yeah, I think now it's more, I mean, we still see communication issues everywhere, but
Totally.
I think if you are evolving as a human, I think in this day and age, you're more apt to want to say like, oh, I should probably discuss this, uh,
Yeah,
and not let it become a thing that you don't talk for 30 years.
agreed.
Yeah.
At least as like culturally and societally, we have, and socially, we have grown in that way. That at least for the conversation of mental health and what we pack down and stuff is important to not necessarily pack down. So there is I do love that that story doesn't end. That chapter of their story ends, and on they go. They get to be friends. They
Yeah.
both acknowledge that they've missed 30 years of each other's lives
Mhm.
and being in each other's lives. So
Yeah.
it's nice that they fixed that.
Yeah, and I'm glad they did it before one of them passed away because
Yes,
that's all I mean, how many stories have we heard, Sharon, that like where it's like, "Oh my God, I should have blah 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 blah." Like even I
totally,
think I don't I think Kobe and Shaquille were okay, but I think they could have been more okay.
probably. And
And
you never know. That's a great case of you never know what will happen, right?
yep,
So tell the people you love them. That's a great start.
yep,
And bury your hatchets,
yep. You know what's funny is I just
especially if you've used it on someone.
yeah,
Just kidding. Don't do that.
don't do that. Back to you, Sharon.
Well, Rob Lowe is one handsome son of a gun, Kel.
Yeah. Don't we know it?
Don't we know it? He's as youthful as he was back in the day when we first got our eyes on him in the 80s, but I guess not sexy enough to make the cover of People magazine's Sexiest Man Alive issue, which, you know what? He goes to bed every night and wakes up every day and he's still okay, right?
Mhm.
Um, but he has recently made jokes about it
Yep.
on The Floor, which is a game show that he hosts. So is he joking about it though? Because nobody asked. Do you
Yeah.
know? He brought it up.
Yeah.
So it might be something that is a little bit of a, what is it called? A
Sticking point.
thorn in his side.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And I think he wants that title.
yeah.
It wasn't the first time that he'd mentioned it in the past few years that he's not been granted that distinction by that magazine.
I knew what's crazy is like because obviously I don't keep track of it every year, but I do usually. I think most people, if you're in the business that we are in, you're aware of that because it is like a kind of like an annual thing. It's almost like
Yeah,
to like obviously it's not of the same import, but when they name like Time Person of the Year or whatever,
sure. Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But it's funny. I would have thought he would have got it like 20 years ago,
Yeah.
at
Guess
least.
he thought that too.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Um, well, it's nice that he's open about his ego and the fragility of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just listen to this podcast, Rob Lowe. We still think you're handsome. You still got it.
Stud muffin
If there was a 90's Now magazine, we would make you our sexiest man alive cover man.
for the month.
Cover man.
Yeah.
See it starting. I'm starting to lose my ends.
Yeah.
Man. Anyways, before this goes completely off the
Yep.
nasal rails, why don't we go back to a 90's rewind? Are you ready for that?
Do it, Sharon.
So we'll go back to the very beginning, like February of 1990. Picture it, Kelly.
Picture it.
Picture Paula Abdul on top of the charts and in a video with an animated cat in a suit.
DJ.
Wasn't that it for, yeah, wasn't that it for Opposites Attract?
Yes.
That was Paula. Also, I'm just going to name drop. I usually give about 5 songs, but I was getting lost in the hey part of looking at my list. Roxette and Dangerous, just a little bit. Skid Row, lead singer Sebastian Bach representing Canada, and I Remember You. High notes, big hair. It was 1990, of course. Your friend Kel, Janet Jackson, was on an escapade, baby. B-52s were kind of on an escapade too with Rome. Cosmic Thing was that album, just fantastic. I can tell you that I had it on cassette. I listened to it on a Walkman. On we go. Pump Up the Jam, Technotronic featuring Felly.
Oh, yeah.
Pump Up the Jam. And how about this, just to wrap things up, just to make sure we are all things when it comes to your 90's rewind. Billy Joel and I Go to Extremes. It's just
Oh,
such
yeah.
it's such a great song. It was still happening around this time in 1990. Billy Joel has just announced more shows and added Rod Stewart and Sting to the lineup that already includes Stevie Nicks.
Amazing.
So a tour starts Feb 22nd until November 1st.
Love it.
Love it. And that is your 90's rewind.
Good job. But that was 1990, right? Crazy.
Yeah, I know.
35 years ago.
Ouch.
How did that happen?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's
But
been
again, I still frequented the clubs on occasion
yeah.
35 years ago.
Thank goodness.
Today, no.
Yeah.
No, but
We
thanks anyways.
we should go. Every time I say we should do something on the show, we never do it. Like we were supposed to go to see Gladiator. That didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
Although we did end up at the Tina Turner musical together.
That's true.
Yep. Yep.
And that was fantastic.
So good.
So good.
Well, is it going to continue at all? Because I would say to anybody, if the opportunity comes to your town or city,
I would imagine it would have to continue. That story is one that needs to be experienced. Tina Turner, the triumph and queen that she is, that you have to experience that story. Even if you don't know a lot about it, it's a learning experience. The music is fantastic. The casts are amazing. We saw it on the opening night, you and I. And then I saw it again so that was a Tuesday. I saw it again on the Friday night. I had purchased tickets to the Friday one with my sister and my cousin and a friend. And then I was given tickets to the opening night. So I wasn't going to say no. The interesting difference is a Tuesday night crowd and a Friday night crowd. The Friday night crowd, when it came time for Tina Turner to strike back when Ike was, beating her up, basically. That's not, we're not spoiling anything by telling you that bit of the information. When she fought back on Friday, the crowd cheered.
oh wow, okay.
Oh, yeah, like it kind of erupted. The whole Place des Arts is a pretty big place, and it was like, raw, and they were just like, yes to that. So,
Which is interesting also because Place des Arts is usually not reserved but composed, I would say, like
totally.
because it's not a venue where you would normally ask for blood. You know what I mean?
No, and this was a poignant part, and it is a poignant part of the musical and of her life. I think it was a turning point. She wasn't going to take it anymore,
Yeah,
and she let him know.
yeah. And I can't say enough about Jaina Elise, who is the lead actress in the role,
Yeah,
plays Tina. You literally see her becoming Tina, like
yeah,
almost literally and figuratively. Like, you see her on stage and it's like it's just, yeah, like to watch Tina become Tina and watch this actress become Tina.
Yeah, she had the affects, she had the speech affects, the physical ones.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, by the end of it, you feel like you're at a Tina Turner show,
Yeah.
like at a concert. And I've seen Tina Turner a couple of times, and they were spectacular in every sense of that word. So if you're in a position to see this musical, this is one way to get back into the music that and the life and story of one of the greats to ever do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it. And thank you, everybody, for playing along. Pardon my sound and my need for a tissue. But again, to our friends in Lancashire, England,
Yeah.
thank you, fisherman's friend. You have indeed been a friend to me.
Yep.
That's how I talk now. Kel, have a great rest of your day. Everybody, thank you. Same to you. And thanks for finding us wherever it is that you do. We appreciate it. And thank you very much for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.